Hi, everyone. My name is Bridget Commanda. I am filling in for my colleague, Kendall Bartsch, who was supposed to be here today. So you can see I have very playfully replaced my name on the slide there. I'm with Third Iron, and we are a linking and access technology company whose goal is to make it easier for researchers to get to full text held by their libraries. And today, what I want to talk to you about is the role that we're playing in the new sort of arrival of all of these AI-powered discovery systems and AI research services, and how LibKey can help facilitate this connection so that users can get the best of both worlds, where they're benefiting from all these powerful new features while also still being connected to their library's content. LibKey is our namesake technology. It is Third Iron. We are installed in over 2,000 libraries all over the world. It has been my great pleasure for the past almost 4 years now to work with many of these libraries the world over. I work with a lot of our libraries in the Asia, Australia, New Zealand market as well, and so it is a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you today. We're represented in over 35 countries, and we have a very high renewal rate that we're incredibly proud of. We're a company of librarians and people who have been in the academic publishing industry for quite some time, and so we really like knowing that we get to keep those relationships strong. So if this is the first time that you are hearing about LibKey and you're not entirely sure what this technology is, I'll give you a brief little overview here. As I mentioned before, we are a linking and access technology, meaning that we link your users to full text scholarly articles from the library's holdings, as well as from our vast knowledge of open access publishing. We do this in a very cool and unique way by coupling article level data with our patented real-time intelligent link building. And what this does is that it means that we're not only creating fast, reliable, accurate links out to articles, but we are doing so in a way that creates an informed link, taking into consideration all sorts of different factors that affect the linking experience for users. Here's some of those bits of article level intelligence I was just hinting at. I know it feels like when you click on the full text for an article that you just go, right? You get there, and that's all there is. It's a simple thing. It should be, but those of us who work with link resolvers and linking technology, our access services librarians, we know it is so much more complicated than that. So what LibKey does on the back end is that it takes into consideration all of these different things, not just the article's metadata, but what the library has through its subscriptions, both its direct publisher subscriptions and aggregator subscriptions, authentication systems, if you use a SAML system, IP-based, VPN-based, what's available open access, both known to the library through your holdings, as well as known through our own vast assortment of open access knowledge. And then, of course, also things like aggregator availability. Do we have special APIs to connect directly to an aggregator for that content? What's the best available version and format? Things like, the author's accepted manuscript versus the final version of record published in the journal itself. Formats meaning PDF, HTML, things of that nature. And then the little bit that I'm most excited about, which is not exactly the main point of today's talk, but what we're doing now with scholarly integrity. So a plug to come by the Third Iron table so I can tell you a little bit more about that. I was an instruction librarian, so clearly that is my bread and butter. I also mentioned that we have real-time link building. Just to give a brief overview of that, this is a workflow demonstration of what we call our best source algorithm. It is a real-time analysis of all available sources of content for a user. That takes into considerations updated holdings knowledge from the library. We get weekly entitlement reports from your holdings management system, so we know what's going on with what you subscribe to and how you subscribe to it. And then we use an AI expert system to determine the best source. That's sort of like our secret sauce, if you will. And that is illustrated right here. It's not so big of a secret, it turns out. We check through open access to find the version of record. That is what we prioritize, and we do open access first just because that allows us to get the most authoritative versions of the article directly from the publishers. We check the library subscriptions, as I mentioned, things directly from publishers and aggregators, as well as live calls out for accepted manuscripts as a way to sort of try one last ditch effort to get full text for your users, even if you don't subscribe to that content. And then if we are not able to find a full text link because the library either doesn't subscribe to it or it's not available open access in some manner, then we fall back on ILL and document delivery options. We have integrations with Iliad and Article Galaxy service from Research Solutions to help facilitate better access to this content as well. So no dead ends. This illustrates the KeyMark LibKey experience. It is not that exciting of a slide because you click download PDF and hey, here's your full text. But all of us know, especially those of us who have tried to explain to our undergraduate students why the link isn't working in the discovery system, it's not actually always this easy. So that DOI level, article level stuff, plus the real-time link building makes this super smooth process and experience for your users. And the lovely thing about this is that LibKey is a technology that is built to meet your users anywhere that they are doing their research, right? So especially those of us from the academic world, we are very familiar with our users coming through our discovery layers. We have integrations available for those. We can also be integrated directly into databases, and we have tools to help with open web searching. But in the spirit of today's conference, or this week's conference rather, I'm going to be talking about AI services and research tools because that is a very quickly growing area of services for our end users. Okay, so as you can see here, there has been a rapid growth in new AI research services. And we've seen services like Consensus, Kenius, things of that nature popping up over the past few years, but really over the past, I want to say 18 months, that it has really, really ramped up in terms of building in chatbots and live dialogic help thanks to LLMs and all that other good stuff. So we are seeing this especially in the lit review area, tons and tons of services to assist with that. And it's really taking advantage of generative AI in order to offer our users or offer researchers help with discovering new literature, helping assist in their workflows, helping them prepare things like manuscripts or systematic reviews. All things that all librarians are also very familiar with helping out with. But here's the thing. These third-party platforms suffer from what is commonly known as the last mile problem, where they have a wonderful natural language model that can summarize the results of dozens of, meta-analyses to give you a really great concise answer for the research query that you type in, and then they base it all on peer-reviewed evidence so that you know it's not hallucinating something and it can give you that list of references. But as the researcher, what do you do with that list of references? You click on the full text button and then it takes you to the publisher's page. And we have this classic issue that we have always had as librarians out on the open web. And I keep speaking about myself as a librarian in the present tense because I think once you were one, you always are one, right? Thank you. I still have a cat and I have glasses somewhere, so my card has not been revoked yet. But yes, so we have this issue where we have users signing up for these really cool services that are helping them with their research, but they're not able to actually get to that research to consult it. And of course, the library probably does have access to it. So this is where LibKey steps in to help with this issue. So we have noticed sort of on the periphery, it was probably about 2 years ago, that there were research services that third-party platforms that were integrating what we have as public API. And this public API would allow users to click on that full text PDF button from within that resource and then go straight to full text using LibKey as an intermediary. And if their library worked with LibKey, then they got to that full text held by their library without needing to jump through many hoops. So since we started noticing that phenomenon, we've become a little bit more intentional with trying to go out and create partnerships with these organizations and third-party platforms, because we know that LibKey's awareness of a library's holdings is what makes that last mile gap issue no longer an issue. LibKey knows if a library subscribes to something or knows if there's a better open access source available, so we can fill that gap for that user. And then these third-party platforms just take the publicly available API and place it in their infrastructure. What comes along for this ride? If you're familiar with LibKey, you know about the really great things that we have in terms of letting users know exactly when something is available. We create a user expectation that gets fulfilled in terms of retrieving full text, seeing article status. I mentioned earlier about what we're doing with scholarly integrity. This means that we can do things like, even if it's in the platform consensus, let a user know if an article's been retracted or if it cites retracted articles. And then we complete that easy research process with that access, right? Either linking directly to the library's subscribed version through an aggregator, through the publisher, through an OA version, through the publisher, or if it's not something the library has immediate access to, taking users to a place where they can get other access via ILL or document delivery. So again, no more dead ends. And quite frankly, my favorite thing about this integration is that libraries don't typically need to do anything. The third-party platforms already did all the hard stuff. So here we have an example of this with Consensus. This is something I'm happy to show you live out in the exhibit hall. Once a user, and we'll pretend I'm Kendall here, once a user logs into Consensus, gets into their account, they can go into settings and then associate themselves with their university or their institution. Obviously, it doesn't need to just be academic. But if that institution is affiliated with LibKey, then that means that LibKey connection comes along for the ride. So now we have our consensus result. Users click the PDF button here. If needed, they're prompted to authenticate. If they've already authenticated, no worries, we'll take them to the full text. Or if it's open access, we'll take them to the full text. But we are protecting your paid content, don't worry. But that's how your user can go from consensus recommendation to full text article in a matter of a click. And as I mentioned before, this brings along for the ride all the other benefits that we have, including our problematic article notification. What we're seeing right here is an example, again, within Consensus, the full text link here, of a feature that we debuted last June that we're calling second, I think actually not just us, a lot of people call second order retractions. We've been notifying users if an article that they click on has been retracted for quite some time now. And as of last June, we're letting them know if the article that they click on cites retracted articles. And this is something that's a really important feature because it helps create this level of awareness of problematic articles to help hopefully stem the tide of retracted articles being unintentionally or unknowingly cited in research and having that issue reproduce itself over and over again. So in summary, these LibKey integrations into these AI-powered research service platforms allow for full instant access or full text access, a streamlining workflow, and safeguards research integrity by bringing those notifications out for users. And then for libraries, they benefit because it means that they are increasing that visibility of their holdings and their services. You saw within Consensus the little University of Minnesota logo in there, and then that goes in through LibKey, which has more brand reinforcement as well. Increased usage of library resources, because without LibKey there to solve that last mile gap issue, that just takes users, drops them off someplace else to find that article where the library may not have a touch point. And with LibKey, the library always has a touch point. And then last but not least, everyone's favorite thing, usage tracking and statistics. If you're a current LibKey library, you know that we provide monthly statistics, and we are currently working on differentiating sources for these third-party platforms so we can hopefully do some more nuanced and granular reporting. But What's nice about this is because LibKey is in the mix and the library is affiliated with LibKey, we're tracking that usage so you get that usage back as well. And just a little summary of some of the services that we are currently working with and services that we are going to be working with. I think it might be a little bit more difficult to see. And also, I think that this slide was taken from Aaron Tay's presentation a while ago from Singapore Management University, so thank you, Aaron. The solid yellow flames, those are current integrations that are already in play. If you see a sort of faded yellow one, we should have done a different color for that. That means we are in talks with that organization. And then last but not least, the blue ones, you know, OpenAI, Claude, Copilot, stuff like that, those more conversational chat GPTs. We are working on prompting features to help users format things in LibKey, LibKeyable article links. So lots of different options and solutions here, and we continue to add to this number, and we hope to see your users out on these services soon. There we go. Got to press really hard in case you're going to be up here next. I keep talking about bridging to access, bridging that last mile gap. Again, this is what LibKey is doing. You've found us helpful in your discovery layers. You found us helpful in your databases. LibKey Nomad, our browser plugin, is a really great tool for open access web, or for open web access to full text. And now we are bridging that access in the realm of these powerful and popular and growing AI-powered research services. So thank you again so much for your time. I believe we've got some minutes for some questions, and thank you.
To you. Yes.
Hi, thank you. Good morning. I'm Hariza from Malaysia. I'm from University Press, University of Islam Malaysia. I just want to know what is the benefit, because you mentioned just now there is very clearly there is benefit for the users and the libraries, and for the publisher. I mean, I think publisher is the ones who provide the content. Is it any benefit for them, or how you bridge them inside the pull in the situation between the user library? Where is the publisher? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. So the publisher sits in a couple of different places in that workflow, right? The library, for instance, subscribes to content through publishers. So wherever we can make the library's holdings more visible, that's a plus for publishers, because that means they're getting usage, and the more usage that a library gets through a particular publisher, counter statistics, all that other good stuff, the better it is for everyone. So in my opinion, just having that visibility of the holdings awareness for the library is really key in these third-party platforms. Because if it's obvious to a user that when they click something, they have immediate access to it through the library, then the publisher gets that usage, the library gets that usage, and LibKey helped a researcher get to what they needed. I hope that was a good answer. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Maybe one more minute.
Hi, good morning. I'm Caroline Pang from Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. I would like to, well, maybe I missed it, but how does LibKey react or integrate with access systems like OpenAthons and remote access, you know, because I don't quite know how it all fits in.
That is a very good question, and let me just get back to one slide. Here we go. Okay.
1 minute.
I will be quick about answering this one. And also, hello, I am the outreach librarian for your account, so please stop by my table. We could talk more about that. So authentication fits into the mix because once a library creates their account with LibKey, we get access to your holdings, to the authentication systems that you use to negotiate access to content, and we include that in our algorithm for giving access to users. So in this slide, for example, this user was in Consensus. They see their library has this PDF. LibKey is going to say, okay, is this article something that's open access? Yes? All right, well then great, we'll show them. If it's not open access, then we're gonna push them to authenticate using the authentication information the library provided when they signed up for LibKey. So it happens very quickly in milliseconds, and most of the time users are already logged in or authenticated through another service. So they may not see that screen very often, and if they're on campus, they're already authenticated. But we do take into account authentication in all of our interactions.
Great. Let's give thanks to Bridget for pinch hitting for Kendall and for putting up with unfamiliar technology with grace under pressure. We have a 9-minute break before our next session starts, another AI-related presentation from Clarivate. You feel free to stay, or you can leave and come back as you like, and we will see you at 10:30. Thank you.